Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome for another episode of Market Leader Live. Hey, it's your host with the most, your main man, Darren and Palmer. Excited to be with you again where I interview those who are not talking about it. They are actually getting it done, and they are market leaders who are dominating in their industry. Today, I have on the lovely, the wonderful, the sales goddess herself. That y'all can't say that. That's what I say. But the sales champion, Joyce Johnson in the building, founder of Y Sales Network. Say hello to the people, Joyce.
Hello, everyone on Facebook. Hope
Much
you're having an
love,
amazing day.
much love, Joyce. And so, Joyce, I want to get right into it. The word is out. I heard it from a birdie or whatnot that someone got a new book coming out. Share a little bit about the name of the book for one, and why are you writing this particular book at this current time?
Darren, here, I'm making sure I get the watch party going. But,
Hello.
oh, how is this? I'm so sorry. Oh my gosh, that's so inappropriate. I thought this was turned
Hey,
down.
we live.
So,
We live.
okay, so
Yeah.
time is everything. Time is everything, and everything happens to the reason. I wanted to put another book out this year, and in all honesty, that book was going to be about a business book on do's and do nots. But with everything that's been taking place in the world right now, and all of the racial tension, divide, what they're talking about in corporate for as DEI, and my background working in corporate with diversity programs, I felt something just, nudged me a little bit that Joyce, it's time to share your story. And people ask me a lot about my story, which I tell my story, my business story often. And I'm an advocate for sales, but I don't go into the deep parts of, what it's been like. Being the sometimes the first and the only person, in the room. And that looks like me, the only woman, the only person of color. And I decided that it's just time to put it out there because for no other reason, I really want all of my connections to get it right. Not just to, I want this book to talk to the African American female and allow her to free herself of some of the pain and thinking, is it me? Is it me? Is it them? But I also want to share with my non friends of color so that they can understand what really happened to me and what was really taking place and what I worked through when I was working side by side with them.
Mm. I love that. And, when we look at this, Joyce, the thing that stood out to me with this memoir is also where it stems from, too. For those who, who haven't had the privilege or the honor to meet Joyce's mother, who is a amazing woman, a phenomenal woman or whatnot, who's still serving in the community. You see
Stay
where
busy.
Joyce get it from. She stays busy. I mean, she's serving. I mean, she's getting it in. She has a life now. I'm not talking about playing like she got a life. This woman still has a life and got things going on. And so, Joyce, just like in the article and the press release that I seen that you had out about your mother growing up in Galveston, Texas. And could you share a little bit, because I think you do a better job of it, but I know what I read in the article about it. Could you share a little bit about that experience about your mother making that choice of not going to the back door? And for some of those who aren't familiar, those millennials out there, and those maybe even from different areas or different time, they might not know what the back door is. So could you share what that means to our culture and the experience that your mother had?
Absolutely. When I was thinking of a book title, I was just thinking through all the different experiences and conversations that I've had, time speaking to my mom. For those of you millennials, younger people that just may not know, that at one time, African Americans were not served at the front door of white businesses and Spanish businesses and things. I say often to my Spanish friends that you guys did not go to school with black people doing segregation. You went to school with white people, right? In my elementary school, which was segregated, I think we had one or two Spanish, Mexican families Hispanic families that was in that school. But I remembered this story, my mom telling me I just always remember this story where she said there was this restaurant that she talks about and you can see the light in her face when she talks about it's a Mexican food restaurant in Galveston, how good the food was. She used to love to go there, but they didn't serve black people. They didn't allow black people to go through the front door. You had to go to the back door. So they would tell you, go on, Missy, gal, however they approached you at that time, when we were colored, and to say, you need to go to the back door. So my mom, although she loved that restaurant, she loved their food and things, she had to make a decision one day not to go back there and not to go back to that back door. So when I thought about the topic for this book and some of the things I've experienced in the corporate environment, it just resonated with me that the title of this book needed to be No Back Doors for Me. Because I thought about, what if my mother would have made the decision to keep going back to those back doors and then take her baby to those back doors, and then I would have had that experience. So, subject of the book, No Back Doors for Me, because my mother tells a story of her making that decision and not going back to that place, no matter how much she enjoyed the food there.
Joyce, when I hear you sharing that, and for those who are listening, I think that it's amazing that you are taking this and using this as fuel to empower others with your memoir. This is your seventh. I remember the first, but now all of a sudden, look at us. You are on the seventh book. So a round of applause for you,
Yes.
my lady, for putting in the work with all the things that you're doing. Starting companies, plural, and working with people, and still encouraging and still teaching. Actually, taking on and putting a professor hat on as well. With all the other things, the host of things that you're doing, being an amazing aunt, just all the above, like the old school multiple choice tests back in the day. Just all the above, girl. That's what you're doing. And so it's amazing to me. But I want to go a little bit deeper into this, because I've even heard it from other women.
Right.
Sometimes, especially, I don't know why it is when it comes to a woman, but I guess the roles that our society has placed on women, that's why it's looked at that. But for some, they have felt that since you were so great in corporate or whatnot for sales and negotiating, whether it was for nonprofits and others as well, people saw that part of Joyce, the go-getter, the business owner, whatnot, corporate thought leader, the whole nine, team leader, but they didn't see the other side of you, the intimate side of you. And so why now, Joyce, were you showing this other side to the rest of the world? Because some of this would just be none of nobody dang business. I'm just having fun a little bit, but now you're showing the other side of you, just not the corporate, just not the thought leader, someone we'll see in Forbes. You're sharing the other side of you. So could you share with us about the timing? Why this timing for you to show the other side of you?
I think it's time to show it because, as I said a lot to my corporate peers and things, they didn't know that I was going through this, right? Because you just get up in the morning, you dust yourself off a little bit, you put your game face on, and you keep it going. And so, because they didn't see it with me, and sometimes I represent what Black is to them, right? What African American is to them. And so they're not as empathetic or sympathetic to other African Americans in the cause. Just like when people have a professional athlete, oh, well, that was Kobe. Oh, no, that's Shaq, And, they're not maybe seeing them as being these people of color. But so I wanted to say, and for the women that, the audience that I serve, right? I don't want them thinking, oh, well, it was so easy for Joyce. Why am I having so much trouble? Why am I experiencing this? Why am I feeling this way? I participated in a Fear to Faith conference. I think it was a couple of weekends ago now. And, me and the ladies, we just all had a good cry, right? Because I did share and I felt it was timely. I knew that's what Kim expected of me on that conference. And I am very guarded. I don't share the tough part. I just kind of, get up and, like you said, dust myself off and make it happen. But I think that right now, in this moment, for my nieces, for other women of color, for that are in corporate America, the young women that are now experiencing something different, I thought by doing what I did and handling things the way that I did and still persevering, I thought I was making it better for them. And now I find out that I wasn't. And what I didn't do is prepare them, because I didn't share that part and I didn't share that part of the struggle and I made it look easy. I didn't prepare them, Darren, for what they're dealing with now.
Woo! Man, that's some fire, Joyce. And for those who are listening to this, what Joyce is sharing with us, I just want to make sure that I extract from what Joyce just shared with us. It's okay to pivot.
Yeah.
Let that marinate a little bit for those who are listening. Are you so caught up in what you've always done? And yes, you have success in certain areas, and yes, you have some accolades. Yes, you got some free trips, and yes, you got some flyer mileage or whatnot. And if you can use it during this current time that we're in. But what I love about Joyce is what Stephanie just put on here too, is the authenticity of being able to say, you know what, I was thinking that this was the route. She didn't intentionally look at harming anyone. She just felt that this is what I've been taught, or this is how I think it should be played. And it's always, let me put it this way. How do you play a role that you've never seen played out?
Exactly.
So with Joyce is sharing this as well in the corporate arena, as she was in certain rooms where nobody looked like her. Nobody textured her looked like her. Nobody had a background that looked like her. So she did the best that she could with what she had. And she's realizing that I just want to do it. It's the same way. Just look at it just a little bit different, because this book is for all people that can pick up something. For the men out there, how do you play a role as a father, but you never seen it played out in your home? It's good with mama. It's good with big mama. It's good with auntie, as we say in Texas. But how do you, when everyone's telling you just be a man,
Mm-hmm.
how do I be a man when I've never seen what a man is? I haven't seen it played out in my home. I haven't seen it played out in a tough decision. I hadn't seen it played out in the finance. I hadn't seen it played out in the business. I hadn't seen anybody that looked like me play this role that I'm called to play. So when we look at this story and this memoir that Joyce is doing, I want us to be encouraged that if it's a relationship for those who are parents and you're looking at this other season in your life, how do you deal with it now that your kids are grown and you're dealing with their wives, or you're dealing with their husbands, or you're dealing with how to handle and deal with your children, parent to grandchildren? If it's you going back to school, if it's someone, or if it's you dealing with a divorce, if it's you when everybody told you that you should be married and have kids by now, we're all dealing with something. But what I love about what Joyce is sharing here is being willing to see, I was looking at helping, but I see that it was something missing. So I'm not going to just sit around and cry about it. I'm going to actually do something about it. And this is what this memoir is doing for so many. No back doors for me. So Joyce, talk about that a little bit. What was the aha moment? It's one thing for you to know that something was missing for these ladies and that door you was opening for them. But what made you have the mental fortitude to move forward and pivot and make the change to leave it better for them by creating content like this?
There were several things, but one thing, so I have a niece, she's 25 now, that, I was very active in her life and raised her different pieces of her life. And she's in jobs now and roles. So last year, well, early this year, she began to experience some of the things that I experienced before.
Mm,
She got a new manager that came in, and he wanted his other person to be in a role and things, and instead of him just saying that, he began to harass my niece. They were, just, it was just multiple things, and I was having to have her handle this. So when she came to me, it was kind of a little further along in the process, because she saw that as a weakness, because she had always seen me as a tower of strength, and she didn't know that I had dealt with all these things. So she, by the time, my baby got to me, as my friend Relinda would say, my baby got to me, uh, you know, these people had worn her out, right? And so then I had to teach her how to document things. And she didn't want to kind of take my advice. And because she was like, well, Joyce, you haven't dealt with any of that, right? So I had to share with her a couple of stories to let her know that I had too dealt with these things. And I felt hurt that now she was having to still deal with them 20 years after the fact that I dealt with them. So you had that. You had her come to me, and I'm helping her work through that issue. And I, like I said, I don't have children, but my niece is probably the closest thing I have to a child. So when people mess with your kids, you ready to go up there, right? I'm like, oh no, let me reintroduce myself. So but you can't. You just got to coach them through it. And so then I experienced some things myself last year. Like I said, I'm going to start the book off talking about that, the final act. And so I dealt with some things last year that kept haunting me, and the way that I handled it, because, people are like, oh, you should handle it this way or what. And I'm like, you know what? I don't have time for it. I got to keep it moving. I got other things I can do and contribute to the world, and I'm not going to let people keep me in that negative space. I didn't want to be kept in that negative space. So then you fast forward to me taking people coming to me and asking me to help them with their diversity and inclusion programs this year. And I said, well, if I'm going to do that, I need to go back to school, get a D&I certificate, really understand some foundational things, because I've always led by my heart, common sense, and respect for others. So let me just go and get some foundational land work done. I go back and I began to study, and studying all of these programs and things, I have to start reliving some of the things that I dealt with in the past. And I realized that I had been compressing a trauma, that I had experienced some traumatic stuff, and that I had suppressed it. And my way of suppressing it was by helping others and feeding into others and helping them navigate and things. But I had left off an important part. And that was the truth about what really I've been dealing with and some of the things that happened to me. So when you look at this book here, I start the final fight. I think I would have to look at so the final fight. Then I go back to when I grew up, and that chapter is called Remember. It's called When I Was Colored. So as I come up a little bit more, I talk about my HBCU experience, going to HBCU. And then when I graduated, getting back into the workforce, the next chapter is reminder I am Black, because they felt they needed to remind me, right? You over there with the HBCU and you're getting so much love and hugs, and you got these great mentors, and they're sheltering you a little bit. So you go in the workforce, they're going to check you, and they're going to remind you that you're Black. And then I get into the next chapter, slapped by privilege. When I'm in a workplace one day, and this woman felt like she could slap me and almost knock me off my feet. Then I go into my next series of the book. Was it my fault? Beginning to feel like, is it my fault? Is it me? What am I doing wrong? Is it me? I took a job. When I took my first leadership role job at AT&T, the gentleman that did not get that job committed suicide. So then all of my, non-peers of color began to blame me for his suicide and began to treat me very harshly. And the company had to bring in someone from the outside to talk everyone through it. So, and then when I left there in survival, and I called my going back to corporate 7 years ago, that title is Back to the Bullshit. So I'm just going to keep it real. That's what I call that chapter of the book, is Back to the Bullshit. And and then leaving there last year and being able to find my joy, right? They quoted me in the press release saying, that weeping endures for the night, but joy cometh in the morning. And at this point, I'm taking my way to joy. And with this book and experience that I've had recently, I'm shedding some of the trauma that I've been suppressing, that came full speed to me during taking that diversity program. Sorry for the long explanation, but you asked me what fueled that.
No, and we need to hear that, because you went deep in that. I just put a link up too, also as well, for that press release that we're talking about. For those who are watching the replay or whatnot, or who are on right now, make sure that you check that out. Go read it for yourself. But the thing that's standing out to me about this too, Joyce, is your work ethic. Like, there's something about you. If you're crying, if you're not crying, you're gonna work. If you're on vacation or not on vacation, you just find a way to get it in. And I can see how it can become intimidating for some people, but it's nothing wrong with a work ethic. And I know we need to handle stuff the right way to be healthy, you be more productive. But even with the diversity and inclusion,
yes,
most people aren't going to go to Cornell university, get certified in diversity and inclusion. So this just shows you just the merit of who Joyce Johnson is and whatnot. It's not that she just, shooting from the hip, coming up with
Yeah.
stuff. And even though she experienced a lot of these things, she backs it up by putting in the work, by being prepared. She's not just telling you something that she heard or she hope you get, or a random fact that she found online. This is the type of stuff that she does. And so, I want to dive into that, Joyce, because I believe that all people can learn from this, no matter what your gender, no matter where you're on the socioeconomic ladder, of you being prepared, you willing to put in the work. Yes, you make calculated moves and risks, but where does this come from, this work ethic and the strategy you have to be prepared? Could you talk to that?
I get it from my mama. Oh my gosh, I have been blessed to, I told my mom one time, I said, God could have put any fool in charge of me, but he
Mm.
gave me you. And for that, I am forever grateful. He could have put anyone in charge of me, but he blessed me with her. And and then my mom and her sisters and my grandmothers and the women that I've seen, I tell people when I went to college, one of my aunts who didn't have a lot of money, every once in a while I get a little envelope from her, you know, and I graduated from college in 3 years, right? It's like, I knew that I wanted to be able to graduate and help my mom set example for my siblings, for my cousins in the family. And my mom was started out as a licensed LVN, a licensed nurse. She then went and became a registered nurse, RN with license. And while I want to say it was after I graduated, my brother maybe was getting ready to go to college or was in college. My mom went back to school and became a degreed nurse. And she has raised other children in our house besides her children. And she had one of my cousins that she adopted. So while she was doing all this, she had my sister in the household with my cousin who was the same age. My brother was there playing football and things. I'm in college. Sometimes she's letting me take the car to college. And you're a college student. You're thinking, okay, I got the car, we rolling. I'm not even thinking that during the time when I'm in college with the car. I'm like, my mom at home with these children, right? And my aunt lived right downstairs. So the aunts have always lived close together. But my mom's at home with the children and she's riding a bike to work and calling it exercise so that I can have the car in college and going to school. So, those some shoes that, when I think some of the things that my mom, my aunts, and, I went down to Galveston a week or so, her and my aunt Lillian had me putting signs together so they can go put signs out on people's yards for voting. Hey,
Wow, that's amazing. She's still getting it in. But I
yeah.
think too that we need a bigger enough why, because this is what I love about your story and the story even with your mother. And I think this is something that's missing. And I think and I want people to hear me out on this. I think that's something we're missing in our times, because whatever you focus on magnifies. And yes, it's some hard times, and yes, it's injustices. But I think too, we need to know who we are and
Mm-hmm.
where we come from. So it's tough for Joyce not to perform at another level when you grab the magnitude of what your mama invested inside of you, what she planted for you to have the success that you have. It's basically a disrespect. How dare I sit in bed? How dare I lay up and not do what I know I'm supposed to do? And my mom was willing to give me a vehicle and still perform at the level that she did, with the situation with back doors still being prevalent, with situations as far as in the communities that she come from. And this woman was able to still go get degrees, plural, still take care of families, because it was different generations of people that she was able to take care of. And with all the things that we have now, and we act like we can't make it.
And to add to that, Darren, when my mother was in college becoming a degree nurse, Well, while she was in college for getting her degree, she lost one of her brothers. She lost her older brother. And after getting her degree, she lost her baby brother.
Oof.
And at that time, she was, I think, studying to get the actual license piece. And so if you can imagine the grief that she was going through at that time. My mom lost her mother at a young age. I was 17 when we lost my grandmother to cancer. We lost my big mama, is what we called her, to cancer. And so her and her siblings are very, very, very close for that reason. So now she's buried her elder brother and her baby brother. But she got to get up every day and take care of her children, go to work, go to school, study for that board, that to become that, different level of nursing RN. And she pushed through and made it happen. So when you think about that, and I think, well, shoot, I didn't have no crown snatchers. I know we weren't easy. And like, like for real,
You got
everybody
to
get it
get some.
together.
That's it. And so I want those who are listening to this to know that you can make it. And when you got individuals like Joyce Johnson who's pouring back, let's not take this lightly. So the person who might need to hear this message, who's not on, but you're on for a reason. So let's make sure that you share this interview. Let's make sure that
Yeah,
you get pre-order this book. Let's make sure that you purchase the book and purchase some copies for some individuals that that could benefit from this. Because just like Joyce brought up with her niece, or just like those who she called her babies, she got a lot of these college babies out here and whatnot. Some of them have graduated from college and so on, and grown with families now, but they still Joyce babies that she's been able to pour into their lives. Now she has a tool to give to them. But I want those who are listening to this to understand that you can play a role to make sure that you make it better for somebody else, because now they're able to face this. I've shared this what worked for me, and I went on a retreat, and this lines up with Joyce's book. I went on a retreat with some men that I really respected when I was younger at church, and I was freshly married, and it was some just things that was going on. But when I was there, and we took some youth on the trip, but I was there with some of the older men and men my age and whatnot. And I'm listening to the stories of people who relationships who I admired. And then I found out, oh, wow, they still have issues on where they're going to go to eat as well. Oh, wow, they have the same type of issues on where did somebody put the keys or who did this as well. And then you start realizing like, oh, they're great people. They've been married for 45 or 50 years and some of them 60, but they have to work through certain things as well. This is not always peaches and cream. So me just sitting there looking at them with all the accolades that they have, and they're at their wedding anniversary, and them watching their kids come back home successful. It didn't just happen overnight. They went through some things. And I think it's relevant to the story of Joyce Johnson right now. What she's sharing with us is the importance of that. It's something behind it. And Joyce is ripping the veil. She's turning the veil and opening up the windows or whatnot to let us see in that this is how you document when you deal with certain type of evil, whether it's in corporate, whether it's in your business, whether it's just in your everyday life. But you don't have to be deterred from your overall destiny by some bad actors or some obstacles that's coming your way. Don't be fooled, as the old folks would say, or I'm not saying old folks, as the seasoned folks would say where I grew up at, don't let the sweet taste fool you. So yes, you see her smiling, you see the radiance, you see the glow upon her, but you see the glory, but you don't know the story. Now, my friend, Joyce Johnson has allowed for us to be able to take a look behind the curtains to see the story by no back doors for me. Joyce, you got other things going on with your company and things like that. If you don't mind, anything you want to share about the book, but also let's share about Y Sales Network, the tools and resources you have for people, the things that you got going on. Please share that at this time, if you don't mind.
Absolutely. If everyone would just stay in touch and follow all the platforms for Y Sales Network. Here on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we have a LinkedIn page. We are providing, I always say, inform, educate, and engage. That's the goal. Inform, educate, and engage others. So last night I was with the college babies and we talked about virtual learning, and you can go take a peek at that. It was a lot of fun. Just so good. I get so proud of them. And then we do a webinar every month. The next one is rebuilding small business. It's going to take place next week. Please go out and register for it. I'm going to have someone from Small Business Association on there, someone from that deal with franchises to tell you how you want to start your own business or your own franchise, because there's still people out there. Like my brother recently retired at 49. He's a very young man. You know, there's other people like you out there. You may want to go start your franchise or a business. And then we're just going to talk about resources that are available to you guys for money or what have you for your business. But every month we have a webinar. We're going to bring you information, and not just bring you information, but we're going to have people that you can connect with to help you. And we have the Meet the Recruiter coming up in November. I just shared a testimonial with someone participated in the last Meet the Recruiter, took those tips and information from those recruiters and went got a job. And we all tend to apply to the same companies. And so what I'm trying to do with Meet the Recruiter, Darren, is get companies that aren't as popular, right? That, you know, that everyone don't know about, have their recruiters on there. We do have Warner Media is going to be on there, but we have Child Help, which is a company after my own heart. We have several different recruiters from different companies that will be on there. You'll have an opportunity to learn from them, and also, you know, learn what jobs they have with their companies. Companies are still hiring. They're still hiring in a virtual space. They're interviewing in a virtual space. And I just want to bring that to people. So follow us at ysalesnetwork.com. My brand is still, I am Joyce Johnson. I'm on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Awesome. Awesome. You know, some people listen to this about the Y Sales Network and the whole nine. But it's amazing to me with you and your amazing team, what you all are able to accomplish. Because it's like Y Sales Network has been around for years. And I know that it hasn't been around for years. But the type of work and the results that you all are getting just right out the gate. Now, I know it's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that you all put
It
out.
is.
You know, give testament to that. I'm able to see behind the scenes on some of the stuff that you do. But that's another thing that I just want to shine a light on and give you your flowers while you're here for you and your team, because that's unheard of. And just like in the corporate arena, when you were sharing with your niece, people can look at that and be like, you know, like everybody's not a LeBron James. So yeah, you might play basketball, but you're not a LeBron or you're not a Mike. Doesn't mean that you can't be good. You can't go to the Euro League or get a degree by you playing or have a great time and just stay in shape in high school. That's what I think about when I see you, Joyce, and your team, is that I know what it is for to run businesses and to get stuff off the ground, and just to see the lives that y'all are changing. You just heard her say, we shared some tips. Someone got hired. I know organizations that they're always having some, but most of the people who go there never get hired. They don't. So kudos to you all. That's what I want to say. Long story short, you know,
Thank
just
you, Darren. Thank you.
great job for you and your team. Just keep doing what you're doing or whatnot. I see some information on here right now. A girl, Monica Gary. Shout out to Monica, the lovely Monica, great person, inside and out. YSalesNetwork.com, and I am JoyceJohnson.com. Make sure that you follow them on all social media platforms as well. Joyce, if there's anything out there, basically last words.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody who's is resonating. It's that woman out there. It's that man that's thinking to themselves, I know what Joyce is saying. I'm going through this. I'm, either I've been furloughed or I am working, but they're watching me like a hawk. Some double standards in certain areas, but I got a family or I got my own bills that I need to take care of. And it sounds good, y'all saying with Joyce, but I don't really know how to get out on my own. I don't really know how to do this other stuff. I'm just trying to hold on. Could you say something to that person that's going through a trying time right now of what mindset they should have to get past this to the next step?
You know, what I share with my niece, and I've always shared with her, when she was 5 years old, I was having like conversations with her. I tell people had her reading books and doing book reports on business books at the age of 12. You know, you just got to dig deep, right? You know, go deep. But I want you to, first of all, I want you to feel what you're feeling, because it's okay to feel what you're feeling. I shared a story that, you know, when I was going through this program, this D&I program, that at one point when I realized everything that had come over me through this, I shut down for a few days. And I felt what I was feeling, and I allowed myself to feel what I was feeling. But then when you get up, you put a plan together and you execute. You check the boxes of your plan and you continue to work your plan, because no one can take your education from you, no one can take your training from you, no one can take your mind space from you, your creativity. So feel what you're feeling, give yourself that time. But also I ask people, who are you in your best daydream? Once you answer that question, I want you to write down what you need to do to get there and execute.
Ooh, see, that's why I love this woman right here. She speak my love language. But you heard my girl how she worked it. But when you get up, like, don't you stay there all day. Don't you stay there. As an
Get
old
up.
person once said, he came to himself in a hog pen. You know, that's it. That's it. That's it. He came to himself. So that's what Joyce is trying to tell you. It's okay to feel what you feel, but
Yeah.
sooner or later, you have to get up.
Joy
Wow.
cometh in the morning.
Come on now. Come on now. Joyce. Joyce, is always a pleasure to have you on.
Thank you, Darren.
I got an event. I got some stuff going. I got to get Joyce to go longer. I mean, I'm doing this platform right here, but it gets so good when Joyce is on. I just want to keep the show going, but we got to have something where we have Joyce come on and present and go longer. Also, we'll have more information about this book that you know that you'll be able to learn so much from. And this is for ladies, but this is also for men too as well. This is something that you want to give for that person that you know that's going into the workforce, those who are in college as well. We all can benefit. And those who are a little bit more seasoned, you can pick up with this, because some of us still have PTSD and are unaware of
We
it.
do.
It's
And
going
that's what it is. And you
that's
know
it.
what, Darren, I forgot that Monica's going to get me for this one. So what I'm doing with this book is, because I realized, like I said, I was going through trauma and I was, I was feeling it. So what we're going to do is every Thursday, and we're looking at doing it on Instagram, actually starting next week, I am going to host what I call Thursday Therapy. So it's let's talk about it, hashtag Thursday Therapy. And I am going to speak about my different experiences as I go through the process of finishing up the book. And I'll be sharing my stories and things. So that's an opportunity for people to come along with me and sharing my story, but also for you to engage me and enter the conversation, join the conversation is what I want to say. So it's going to be every Thursday. You look at our pages, we'll be talking about it, but it'll be Thursday Therapy. So while I'm getting my therapy in, you can get your therapy in, and we can put together a plan for success for everyone.
Awesome. Awesome. Y'all make sure that you connect. Go on the social media platforms or reach out to Joyce and the team. The Thursday Therapy. Do not miss that. This is an opportunity where you can, take the different hats off, get rid of the mask, actually be open to hearing from others what they're going through and what they're using to get past their own situation, so you can glean and pick up on tips that can allow for it to be beneficial for you and your family lives. So you're fooling yourself if you don't. You're not going to make it by yourself.
Not going to.
Everybody needs somebody. So you have to get the right people who mean well for you. Is going to give you tangible steps how to get to the next level for us, what you're doing. But Joyce, once again, it's good to have you on Market Leader Live, girl. Congratulations.
Thank you for having me.
On the 7th book, I had to say it again, the 7th book, No Back Doors for Me, with the exclamation point. Come on now. I hear you working, girl. I hear you working. So kudos to you and your whole team. For those who are tuned into this, we will have information too. We will rebroadcast this, but we'll have more information about Joyce and upcoming events that Y Sales Network and Joyce Johnson has going on. But it's always a pleasure to connect with you, Joyce. Y'all know how we do it on this show. If you won't change, be the change. Until next time, be blessed and be great.